You know, maybe we start by talking about a time or a series where you felt was exhausting.
It was exhausting, wow.
Mentally or physically challenging or exhausting.
Yeah, and obviously I've been in so many, but I think one that comes to mind would be obviously, you know, 2012 Eastern Conference Finals versus Boston. You know, I was in Miami, and obviously, you know, the Boston had their big three, and I always say the big four because Rondo was so damn good as well. And we go down 3-2 after losing a home game. You know, going into Boston, which is one of the places that you just don't want to be going there for a closeout game. You know, and for us to be able to go in there in Game 6, and we know what happened in Game 6, and us to be able to come back to South Beach and win a Game 7, you know, KG is bringing to the game his intensity. You know what Rondo's bringing to the game, and the rest of that group, they just brought so much out of you.
Right.
Not only from a physical toll, but from a mental standpoint too, you know, because they have so many guys out there that can do so many things. So at the end of that series, you was just like, like I just want to sleep. I know I'm not going to be able to.
Right.
You know that. You know that.
You're not gonna, time anyway.
Yeah. You know, but yeah, it just takes so much out of you mentally.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, you be finals.
Yeah.
A big part of that for me is collective experiences, being there before together, having those collective scars where you see in someone's eyes, we're going to be fine. You're down in Game 3, 13 points in the third quarter, and you say, we're going to be fine. Whereas if you haven't had that collective experience, those can be trying moments.
Yeah, for sure. You start to question everything.
Yeah, right.
You start questioning yourself. Yep. You start questioning the guy that you haven't been in the foxhole with it enough.
Right.
You know, it's just human nature. You know, if you haven't been in those experiences enough, you don't know what to fall back on. And, you know, my experience my second year in Miami, you know, losing that year before gave me enough experience to know how to handle adversity even more.
Right.
You know, how to go into Boston for a Game 6 down 3-2, and everybody is saying that this is over.
Yeah.
You know, how to come back in 2016 after losing in 2015, you know, and how to handle adversity being down 3-1.
Right.
Because of the things I've learned over the course of the past, you know, and having those moments with my teammates to be able to be like, we're fine. And they believe that, no matter how large the obstacle is for us to overcome.
Yeah.
They believe it. You know, I mean, my first time going to the finals in 2007, you mentioned the Spurs.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, when you play the Spurs, not only are you trying to defeat the Hall of Fame players, you're also trying to defeat the Hall of Fame coach.
Can I stop you there? Like, was Pop a spy? The military, like, I'm serious.
Yeah, for sure.
He spoke Russian.
Yeah.
He came from the Air Force Academy.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I think he was on his way to be an agent for the United States government. And you're trying to win a basketball game against him.
Yeah, for sure.
I always felt like there was a little bit of a disadvantage or a hill we were trying to climb just with Pop himself.
Yeah, for sure. You can sense it, like, okay, I have to guard Tony, Manu, Timmy, and then, you know, you see, okay, maybe they may be a little tired this quarter, maybe. And then you look to the sideline and you got Pop over there, and he's like on the floor as well, but standing on the sideline.
Right.
You know, so listen, at this point in my career, like, I mean, the regular season is fun, it's cool, all right, but I just only care about the playoffs.
It's a drug.
Yeah, like the moment, you know, I'm all about the process, and I will always be about the process, and to get to this point, but the postseason, when you have an opportunity, if you have a chance to win it, and you know you have the team to have a chance, doesn't always result into winning it, but if you have a chance and you know you have a fighting chance of walking into this ring and say, we can beat anyone. We can beat anyone. You know we have to play close to perfect basketballs, you know, obviously we know that, and it takes a lot of luck in the postseason. You know, we understand that, but, you know, when it comes to playoff basketball, man, it's definitely a drug for sure.
To me, that's,
you can't get back.
You know, another part about great teams is versatility, especially in today's game. You know, like, you know, in the old days, you know, you had much more of a roster constructed of 6 foot to 6'2" point guards, 7 foot centers, and power forwards. Now it's like we've kind of compressed all that, right?
Yeah.
It's like as many wings, positionless.
Yep, positionless.
So you're talking IQ, you're talking guard multiple positions, you're talking guys that can play blender. You know, the versatility, like you said, to be able to make adjustments on the fly, to read and react. All these assets mean a lot in playoff basketball. And you talk a little bit about versatility and how that can change a series when it's like the last card to play.
Yeah, and I think who've mastered that is over the last like 10 years is Golden State. And the main reason is because of Draymond Green. When we played them in 2015 in the finals, I believe they started the series off. I believe it was either Bogut or David Lee was starting at the center. You know, and you know, obviously we was out without Kevin Love, and unfortunately Kyrie got hurt in overtime of game 1.
Kevin had a concussion?
Kevin separated shoulder. Yep, and Kyrie dislocated his kneecap. But we ended up going up 2-1. And because of Draymond and because of Iguodala and because of Sean Livingston, it gave them the dynamic. In game 4, Draymond started at the 5, Iguodala started at the 4. We stayed pat with our lineup of, you know, Tristan and Timothy Mozgov, myself, J.R. Smith, and I believe Dellavedova. I believe, Matt Deli, and it changed the landscape of their team.
Right.
And still to this day, the versatility that Draymond allows Steve and that franchise to have, it makes them who they are. And obviously we know Steph does, you know, it goes back to Steph gonna do what Steph does, you know, and I think that's what the game of basketball is, to be able to have that versatility. To be able to have 6-7 guys that can play big or be able to switch out on guards, you know, having, you know 6'5", 6'4", 6'8", 6'9" across the board to be able to make you so versatile that you always keep the defense or keep the other team at bay. Because there's some teams that just won't change, or they don't have the versatility package to be able to do it.
Right.
You know, so that is huge.
Yeah, they traditionally